Welcome to our deep dive into one of the most significant and controversial financial and geopolitical stories of our time. Today, we're talking about a staggering $210 billion, not just any money, but frozen Russian assets, now at the heart of an intense international debate. Is this a legitimate move to aid a nation in crisis, or a dangerous precedent that could unravel the global financial order? Ukraine desperately needs funds for reconstruction, and many are calling for these frozen assets to be seized and repurposed. But the legal, economic, and political implications are immense, sparking a heated discussion among world leaders, legal experts, and financial institutions. Join us as we unravel the complexities behind this potential financial heist, examining the arguments, the players, and the massive stakes involved for Ukraine and the global economy.
Let's first understand how we got here. Following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, a coalition of countries, led by the G7, the European Union, and Australia, swiftly moved to impose unprecedented sanctions. A key target was the Russian central bank. Their foreign currency reserves, estimated to be around $300 billion, held in banks and financial institutions across these nations, were immediately frozen. This was a coordinated effort aimed at crippling Russia's ability to finance its war machine and exert economic pressure. The freezing was a powerful, albeit initial step, designed to deny Russia access to its vast foreign holdings, but it stopped short of outright confiscation.
Now, let's explore why many are advocating for the outright seizure of these assets. The primary argument is moral and practical. Ukraine has suffered catastrophic damage, estimated to be hundreds of billions of dollars. Proponents argue that Russia, as the aggressor, should bear the cost of Ukraine's reconstruction and provide compensation for damages. Seizing these assets is seen as a direct way to make the aggressor pay, rather than burdening international taxpayers. It's framed as a moral imperative, a matter of justice for the victims of an unlawful war. However, this powerful moral argument immediately clashes with complex legal precedent and the foundations of international law.
This isn't as simple as just taking the money. International law, specifically the principle of sovereign immunity, protects states and their assets from seizure by other nations. Confiscating these funds could set a dangerous precedent for future conflicts, potentially legitimizing similar actions against any country in a geopolitical dispute. There's also the risk of retaliation from Russia, which could seize Western assets in return. Legal experts are grappling with the profound legal ambiguity and the lack of clear international frameworks for such an unprecedented move. Finding a way to seize these assets without undermining the entire international financial and legal system is proving to be an enormous challenge.
When we talk about the $210 billion figure, it's crucial to understand its context. While the total frozen assets amount to roughly $300 billion, the $210 billion specifically refers to assets held by Euroclear, a major international securities depository based in Belgium. But here's the critical distinction. This $210 billion isn't the principal amount of Russian reserves. Instead, it largely represents the mainly interest and profits generated from these frozen assets since 2022. Because the principal cannot be returned to Russia, Euroclear has invested these funds, generating significant returns. It's these accumulating profits that are now the primary focus of seizure debates.
Euroclear, a crucial clearinghouse in the global financial system, found itself in an unprecedented situation. As the custodian of a large portion of the frozen assets, it has continued to receive interest and generate significant profits from investing these funds in highly liquid, low-risk assets. Due to its status as a Belgian entity, these profits are subject to taxation under Belgian law. These taxes alone are substantial, reaching hundreds of millions of euros. While not an intentional beneficiary, Euroclear has inadvertently become central to this financial dilemma, holding the key to a vast pool of potential funds for Ukraine, albeit through its operational profits.
Recognizing the urgency, various solutions are being debated. The most commonly discussed EU proposal focuses on using the profits generated by the frozen assets rather than the principal itself. This approach is seen as less legally problematic. However, other voices continue to push for outright seizure of the principal.
G7 discussions ongoing continuously seek a unified and legally sound strategy. The ultimate goal is to channel these funds into a Ukraine reconstruction fund, providing a much-needed lifeline. Every proposal, however, walks a tightrope between providing immediate aid and upholding the integrity of international financial law.
The potential benefits are clear, but so are the risks. Seizing assets could provoke severe retaliatory measures by Russia, potentially leading to the confiscation of Western investments within Russia. This could have a devastating impact on global financial system, as nations might become wary of holding reserves in countries where their assets could be unilaterally seized. It could lead to a significant loss of trust in West among non-allied nations, pushing them towards alternative financial systems. Such a precedent for expropriation could destabilize international finance, making capital flight a real concern and harming the very principles of sovereign wealth and property rights.
We stand at a critical juncture. With over $210 billion at stake, the decisions surrounding these frozen Russian assets will be critical for Ukraine's future, providing either a substantial boost for its recovery or leaving it reliant on traditional aid. More broadly, this decision sets global financial precedent, potentially reshaping the rules of international finance for decades to come. The decision-making continues in capitals around the world as leaders weigh justice, legality, and stability. This isn't just about money. It's about the very fabric of international law and global financial trust. We'll continue to monitor this developing story, urging you to stay informed on this historic and complex issue.